All right, we're back. The UFC 253 post-fight coverage continues right here on MMAfighting.com. This is the post-fight show. This is going to be the people show. We're going to get right into your questions and your thoughts very quickly here tonight because it is almost 2:30 in the morning here on the East Coast. I know I'm not complaining. I'm just saying for those of you who are waiting around having and want your thoughts and your questions answered, we're going to get right to that. But I am Mike Heck, joined by Alex K. Lee and E. Casey Leiden. If you're watching live, questions, thoughts, put them in the chat. We'll get to them. If you're watching or listening after the fact, thank you for doing so. And we understand if you want to get a good night's sleep. Casey's cracking open an ice-cold beverage. What is that?
This is Kahlo hemp-infused seltzer.
Ooh. How about that? Well, AK, you know what I'm going to ask you because on the preview show that came out yesterday, on Friday, you said that your scale of which you were aiming to grade this card potentially could reach a 9.2. Something tells me it didn't hit that number despite what happened in the last three fights tonight.
It's almost 2:30 in the morning Eastern. Mike, is it? Oh, why am I doing this? Why did I agree to do this? What's happening right now? And why are so many people watching? What is people? No, I shouldn't say. I'm sorry. Please stick around. Yes, I in my degree of difficulty for the card, if you want to put it that way, was a 9.2. So like if it hit everything, it'd be one of the best cards of the year. I guess even a 9.2 is probably one of the best cards of the last decade. No, it fell very, very short. And I think since the first time I introduced this system on our shows, this is the first time it's fallen so short. So I do not think that this show was a 9.2 out of 9.2. It was maybe a 7, if I'm being generous. I think if you have rooting interest for certain fighters, the score could be a little bit higher. But just speaking objectively, not particularly caring, if I was from the perspective of someone who doesn't particularly care who won which fights, maybe a 7. And it might be generous. I might be on a high because of kind of how exciting some of the last few fights were. It certainly did not start off great, and I don't know if there's any truly great fights in the card. Though I did love that the Flyweight fight, that one fight of the night. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, I liked the Brad Riddell Alex De Silva fight too. That was a fun one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was either just the matchmaking stylistically was just not good, or Diego Sanchez fought Jake Matthews, and we had matchups like that, and nobody wanted to. We just kind of felt bad and almost uncomfortable at times watching it. We did see some great finishes. Ludovic Klein with a ferocious finish in the first round over Shane Young. He did miss weight, so no bonus for him. But it all ended with Israel Adesanya. What a performance from him against Paulo Costa. It was the battle of the unbeatens, fighting for the 185-pound championship of the world. This was a one-sided clinic from Adesanya. It was a y'all must have forgot type of performance. That's what he said. It's amazing what happens after just one fight. You go on these great runs. You have a fight of the year contender. Pretty much everyone thought it was the fight of the year with Kelvin Gastelum. And then you fight Yoel Romero, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're a boring fighter. You were overhyped, and comes through in a big way and just destroys Paulo Costa. Casey, we kind of got your thoughts on it. So, AK, your thoughts on Adesanya's performance tonight, because that was something else.
I mean, look, we've seen this story before, and it's just so disturbing to me that people have no perspective, even in a sport that is among all the sports, one of the what have you done for me lately businesses. We've seen this before with Anderson Silva, the greatest middleweight of all time, maybe the greatest fighter of all time. He had several clunkers during his run. Talos Leites comes to mind, Patrick Cote. The Damian Maia fight that was so poorly received that Dana White at the time said, I really apologize. I owe the fans some sort of mea culpa for this. And now that, of course, Anderson's career is essentially over. I know there's probably another fight's going to happen, but essentially over. It's like people forget those things. But I wish they had learned in that moment to kind of look at everything as a whole. And I was so disappointed after the Romero fight with Izzy and Romero that it was a terrible fight. I'm not saying it wasn't, but for people to suddenly just say he's a boring fighter and just be done with it, it was insane to me. I'm like, did Calvin Gastelum fight not happen? The Robert Whittaker fight was super exciting. I know people remember it for him just dominating Whittaker at the end. That fight was really, really tense and really exciting. So the Romero thing was an outlier. So I'm glad that he got the win tonight. I won't say it was the most exciting fight. I think it was maybe a little too one-sided, and I think we'll be saying similar things about the co-main event, the light heavyweight championship fight. But for Adesanya, this was a great performance, and I hope all talk of him being a boring fighter is gone now. I know it'll come up again. I say that knowing it'll come up again. It all takes one more bad performance to happen, but I hope people just have more perspective in the future.
Yeah, I got worried for a moment just because Costa was like, I'm not going to chase you. I'm going to stand right here. And then they both said at the same time, oh, it's Romero. Yeah. And he was taunting him. I'm like, oh, no, please don't do this. And then Adesanya was like, no, I'm just going to kick your leg 11,000 times in a row. And then that just changed the whole complexion of the entire fight. It was an amazing performance. Casey and I talked about it a little bit during the press conference. We're going to open up to the fans momentarily. But, Casey, we didn't get to talk a ton about Jan Blachowicz against Dominic Reyes. Comes through. Honestly, there were not a lot of people giving Blachowicz much of a chance in this fight, but man, he came through in a big way. That Polish power was all the difference, and now he's a champion. He is the official, undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion, the first not named Jon Jones or Daniel Cormier since March of 2011. Your thoughts on Mr. Polish Power tonight?
First off, I need to start remembering how to spell his name, because I feel like I'm tired of copying and pasting it, but I'm going to have to remember this. How about the fact that Jon Jones, who we've been saying is just getting, maybe he's a little too, getting up there of age, and then a 37-year-old man is now the new champ. Like, what kind of crazy world is this? And I think of we were talking about Izzy Romero and how like, oh, most boring fight. Look at Jan's last few fights, and then go back 2 fights and remember that he fought Jacare in a main event, and probably one of the, in terms of entertainment, one of the worst main events we've seen in a long, maybe way worse than Romero Izzy. And it's just, man, this sport is just wild. And I thought Reyes was gonna win, but not shocked that it was Jan. But man, if you would have gone 3-4 years ago and gone like, hey, this Polish guy, this KSW guy, he's gonna wear that 205 belt. I'm like, dude, get out of here. You are wasted. And here we are, mixed martial arts.
In April of 2017, Jan Blachowicz lost to Patrick Cummins. That was his 4th loss in 5 fights. Mm-hmm. And now he's a champion of the world. This sport is just the best.
Yeah, and legit. It wasn't like he didn't get it on a weird late notice or anything. It wasn't a fluke victory. He earned it. Got his way back to the top. I mean, even that Corey Anderson fight. This fight wasn't meant for you. This is supposed to be Corey Anderson. The beef was he was the B-side. You know, he was the B-side for the Jacare fight. You know, it's just what a sport.
Got knocked out by Thiago Santos in February of last year. And then he won 4 in a row, and he's the champion now. It's so crazy. What were you going to say, AK?
I was going to say the Corey Anderson thing is funny. Corey Anderson, it looked like there was a kind of actually a compelling beef building there with him and Jon Jones. Now Corey Anderson's in Bellator. Jon Jones is a heavyweight. It's crazy how fast these things can change. And again, just talking about Blachowicz, I would keep overlooking him. You know, we've talked about this before, and I mentioned on social media that he's now won 8 of his last 9 fights. And in the majority of these bouts, he was the underdog. This 8 of 9. This 8 of 9 fights run started with him beating Devin Clark. He was an underdog to Devin Clark. And again, this was not super long ago. That's 3 years ago, so sometime now. But he was an underdog for Devin Clark 3 years ago. Now he is the UFC light heavyweight champion.
Unreal. And of course, Jon Jones asked the question not too long ago via Twitter: would you guys be annoyed if I went back and grabbed my belt real quick?
Mike, would you be annoyed? Mike?
Yes.
You sound annoyed.
Just go to heavyweight and fight. We all want to see it. Just go fight at heavyweight. Come on. Just go fight the winner of Ngannou and Stipe or whatever. Just make a decision and stick with it.
That's what Jon Jones just tweeted?
Not long ago at 2:12, so 15 minutes ago he tweeted
Why is he not sleeping?
It's like 11:12 where he is. The night's just beginning for him.
Yeah. Night's doing it.
My God.
Oh my goodness.
He's about to get turned up.
Yeah, he's probably like, oh God, yeah. I mean, whatever he wants to do, he's the GOAT. Whatever. If you want to go back down and fight at 205, but you vacated the title just to go back and fight for it again. Like I just don't understand.
You know, before you said that, I was actually wanted to compliment Jon Jones in the sense that I was gonna say thank you to Jon Jones for vacating the belt, because technically he could have still had the belt, and this could have been for an interim. And we had that whole controversy, the whole he's not the world champ and everything. I was like, oh wow, way to go, Jon. Just here guys, I'm stepping away. But no, he's back. Yay.
Oh yeah, you knew it was coming.
I wonder, you should want this fight for him though. You should want this fight for Blachowicz, because again, he wants the fight. We all know there's always going to be this side storyline of, oh well, is Jon Jones, as long as Jon Jones is around and in the UFC, who isn't he the real champ at 205? And again, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm sort of mocking it, but I'm not saying that's wrong. That's certainly an argument you can make, because look, Jon Jones is just unbeatable at 205 pounds. That's just proof. So So Blachowicz is the rightful champion right now. Jon Jones is out of the picture, but at the same time, Jon Jones looms over the division no matter what, until he goes up to heavyweight permanently and rattles off some fights. There will always be that question. So people who are fans of Blachowicz should want to see this fight happen.
All right, fair enough. I do want to see Glover Teixeira and Thiago Santos fight it out, and the winner gets that fight, and we can actually let this division be a division again. You know what I mean? Like a fresh coat of paint. This is what we've been waiting for a while. We finally have it. Jon Jones to heavyweight is so much more compelling. It's just so much more compelling for Jan and what he's been able to accomplish. Sure, it would be awesome for him to get that fight and maybe be the man to beat the man. But imagine, I just don't want to. I just want to see things move forward the way they're supposed to here. 2020 has been chaotic enough. Can we just make a decision and just take one road and just stay there? Let's just go one way.
This is the UFC. This is the UFC, Mike. What is old is new again. Yeah, exactly. I'm saying they can keep going over these same tracks over and over and over again. They've done it for many, many years, and I don't know that the word fresh and new is not always what comes to mind when I think of the UFC's plans.
I can already see Jon Jones coming back, beating Jan, and then vacating the belt again.
Again.
And just we just have a camera on Dominic Reyes, just like.
I could have stopped all this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where all these guys go. And me and AK will be talking about it Monday morning on to the next one. Yeah. Bonuses, Adesanya and Blachowicz got performance of the night. Brandon Royval and Kai Kara France got fight of the night. Huge win for Brandon Royval. Second round submission over Kai Kara. I mean, just a huge win for him. I can't wait to see what is next for him. 125 got a major boost, being the featured fight leading into those two title fights, and it delivered in a big way. Caitlin Vieira gets back on track with a win, and Hakeem Dawodu with the victory over Zubaira Tukhugov. So congratulations to him.
Mike, I saw some people questioning my scoring in the YouTube comments, and I gotta acknowledge my YouTube hounds. This card was not great top to bottom. Even if you really admired Adesanya's dominance, Blachowicz' dominance, fantastic. The Royval Kai Kara France fight that first round was frigging insane. That opening exchange, one of the best opening exchanges I've ever seen. It was Kai Kara France started with a punch, and then it's oh, he's hurt. Royval's hurt, and Royval's I'm hurt. I'm gonna throw a spinning back fist that's gonna land right on the button, and it was so fast and hit so quickly and so clean. Anik was on the call, what happened? Was that a double knockdown? Did they hit each other? And it was really hard to tell what happened. I think Kai Kara France got hit.
Real quick, the play-by-play was throw a spinning elbow from your knees after getting dropped, land it clean, then land an illegal knee, and then then attempted go-go plata.
Allegedly. And the broadcast said it was in the neck, so we don't know. They never went back and showed it, which is crazy.
This all happened in the span of about 7 seconds, by the way.
Which in flyweight time, that's so many things can happen for flyweights in 7 seconds.
These two guys are incredible. I'm glad they got the bonus, because that exchange is just that's next level stuff. That's just something you can't see. People talk about the UFC is the pinnacle of the sport. That's something you're only going to see really the best of the best. So I'm glad they got their shine. But outside of that, guys, the prelims were rough. There was a good showing for Ludovic Klein for sure. If you got some sort of great pleasure out of watching Jake Matthews do what he did to Diego Sanchez, you know what? Good for you. But sorry, that did nothing for me. Riddell Silva, very competitive, good fight. But then again, there was just some other fights that are completely forgettable. And then the main card, again, I think good for Caitlin Vieira, good win. But that fight with Eubanks was okay. It wasn't particularly exciting. So I'm not taking anything away from the winners. I'm just saying that if you look at the card top to bottom, I imagine some people who scored the card don't kind of watch every fight like we do, or have to watch every fight like we do. So they don't kind of endure that 6.5 hour, 7 hour experience. But if you enjoyed the card, I'm not kidding. If you thought that card was a 10 out of 10, good for you. That is your opinion, and I totally respect it. I'm glad you enjoyed tonight's show. Wow,
the Prince of Positivity, keeping it real. Keeping it real tonight. Hey, Juan Espino, great to see him back.
Yes.
A scarf hold. I was like, yes. Now we're on fire here. And then we got to see William Knight and his power getting a win over Alexa Kamer. And then we got the Klein, Jake Matthews, Brad Riddell, Alex Silva was good. I mean, I think 7 might be a little harsh. I think we're in the 7s. I think we're in the 7s. Maybe like 7.5.
I do believe when it's a pay-per-view, you have to be a bit harsher because we, like I said, these fans are paying $70 to watch this, and this isn't. So it's on a different scale when you have to shell out good money. So yeah, it was, yeah.
And the last few weeks of cards have been nuts. Like they've been bananas cards with a lot of like storylines afterwards and a lot to discuss like throughout the week. This one we'll have things to discuss, but not quite as much as, say, UFC Vegas 11, like Monday and Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Mr. Dana White, the UFC president, if you're familiar with him, he does not believe it, but it is 100% true. Get rid of that big cage, the small cage. You can put anyone in there. It will be action. Look at all the Apex fights. Small cage. It's about this big. This is the literal size of that cage. Action, action, action. And I knew it once they go to that big cage. Now we're just we're going back to, you get winners and losers and stuff in terms of quality fights. And, I don't understand. Small cage.
Well, I'll say this. I don't think any cage size was helping Khadis Ibrahimov and Danilo Marquez turn into a barn burner. With, again, respect. Congratulations, Danilo. By the way.
You brought it up, huh? Oh, good. We're going to talk about that fight for the rest of the
I'm just saying, I don't think any cage size was going to make the Jake Matthews Diego Sanchez fight any easier to swallow. All right, I'm just saying.
No, it would. It would have made it much more exciting.
I'll say this for Diego, and I don't want to say it's encouraging him to necessarily continue fighting again, though I'm sure that's what he wants to do. Again, he has several fights left in his contract, and I don't think winning or losing is necessarily an issue for him right now. He's just seeking new challenges. That dude is just insanely tough. I know it almost doesn't need to be said for guys fought in the UFC 32 times, but he got cut up real bad tonight. And he has constantly has knuckleheads like us in the media, questioning whether he should be fighting or not. Somehow, all this time, he's never had issues with self-doubt, self-confidence, I should say, that's for sure. And when you get busted up that badly, how many fighters look for a way out? How many fighters have you seen like give him the neck, choke me out, or I'm gonna turtle up here and give the referee an excuse to kind of call the fight? This guy was getting brutalized tonight. He got beat up so bloody before, and for him to hang in there is just, I admire it. I know it sounds a little sadistic, but I admire it.
Are you saying
Diego arm bars?
Are you saying Diego Sanchez will never look for a way out in a fight? Do I need to bring up his Tapology page?
Well, hold on. The Michelle Pereira thing was just smart. That was a moment of craftiness that I admire even more. Like that was a moment that was shocking. I remember that was shocking, but I wouldn't even say he quit. I think like that's the moment where he knew he was done. He's like, I'm just gonna take the money here.
A fighter is not anywhere near their prime is when the first thing we talk about is how tough they are.
Yeah. That's true.
When you bring up how tough a fighter is as the first characteristic, they had a bad night.
That's an epithet. Yeah. There's probably a few fighters on this card who, like, if I wanted to be like complimentary, I'd say, boy, that guy was tough. They didn't get that win. But, so, and again, we do mean that emotion. But I do just, again, every time, if Diego Sanchez is going to keep trotting himself out there, I want to offer, like, at least some measure of appreciation, even if, again, encouraging him to continue fighting might be somewhat irresponsible to do at this point.
Yeah, let's not put him in put over other guy kind of fights. You know what I mean? Like, let's not put him against
Jake Matthews
killers like Jake Matthews. Like, let's put him up against like people in the same position. Like,
cool
Damian Maia wants to fight. Like, Damian Maia wants to fight Diego Sanchez and vice versa. Like, just book him. Don't book Damian Maia against Khamzat Chimaev. Are you nuts? Book him against Diego Sanchez. That's the fight.
I saw Diego Sanchez suggestion that tickled my fancy. I'm not gonna lie. I know we've said Maya, which makes a lot of sense. I think we've also said Cerrone. I think we also said Cerrone. Lifers, former Greg Jackson guys. Someone said Tyron Woodley, and I'm not gonna lie. I saw it. We'll talk about it more on tomorrow's show, Mike. I saw it, and I said, "Why, Casey? Why no? Why no Tyron Woodley? Why?"
You're a mean man.
I want someone to get
first of all, Diego Sanchez is not in that point of his career where he is putting people over anymore. Now it's just like Jake. Do we go? Oh, Jake Matthews now. Oh, I think he can fight for the title now. No one's saying that. Jake goes, all right, Jake Matthews got a paycheck. Congratulations, Jake. You look like a nice young man.
That was a big win for him, though.
It was a win, but are we?
He was proud of that one.
No, and he should be proud. He gets a win. He gets a paycheck. It's great for him. But but no one's. You don't get over by beating Diego Sanchez anymore. We're past that. I think if we're gonna have Diego Sanchez fight, I want to see the rematch, Diego Sanchez versus BJ Penn.
I saw that. Was that you that suggested that? I saw more than one.
Probably a couple of my troll accounts. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, again, but this is the kind of fights we're talking about that he should be involved in. Have a separate category for guys who just cannot walk away. As long as they have fights in their contract, as long as they have fights in their contract. If they insist on fighting out the fights in their contract, and the UFC is under some sort of obligation to do that, which they're really not, because they can just cut someone after a loss, but they don't want to do that, then yeah, these are the kind of fights they should make for Diego. So again, we are not encouraging this, we are not endorsing this, we are not saying Diego Sanchez versus BJ Penn headlines a card on Fight Island. We're not saying that. We're just saying if they are going to fight again, then that's what's suitable.
Oh no, we're gonna see Diego Sanchez versus Jeff Neal, aren't we? That's what we're gonna see. They're gonna book that crazy fight. Don't you dare!
Neal and Neal is still alive. Neal and Neal is still alive. And after today, I mean, I don't know. Jeff Neal said, hey, he responded to a Neil Magny tweet saying, "Hey man, you're looking for a fight. I thought we were still gonna run it back." So I was very excited when I saw that. And then someone also raised the possibility I hadn't even thought of now Brandon on Brandon. So
yes,
it's really exciting. It's really exciting stuff.
Potential for lots of future here.
But Reina Royval, yes.
Let's go to the peeps.
Hell yeah.
Let's go to the peeps.
They're talking a lot
to discuss.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are.
They have a lot to say.
Oh no, where? Oh, here we go.
What is next for Paulo Costa?
It's like that. Just throwing it out there.
We're getting right into the matchmaking questions.
Okay.
I mean, I think honestly, like a little spoiler here, a little bit of a spoiler. I think it's pretty easy to matchmake Paulo Costa, like pretty darn easy. We have a huge fight coming up on October 24th in the co-main event between Robert Whittaker and Jared Cannonier. One would imagine that the winner is going to fight Israel Adesanya, regardless of what happens. Even if Whittaker wins, and I know he just got knocked out, Whittaker was a champion for a while. If Whittaker goes out there after beating Darren Till and then goes out and beats Jared Cannonier, who is the surging contender in this division, he's likely going to get another opportunity. So the loser fights Paulo Costa. There we go. I think that's pretty simple. So if it's Whittaker Costa, I'm cool with that. If it's Cannonier Costa, I'm cool with that as well. Casey, what are your thoughts on this?
I think Costa honestly can go against anyone in the top 10. But I think the bigger question is when you get just completely annihilated like that in a title fight that has so much hype behind it, what does Costa have to do to ever get a rematch against Izzy as the champion? Or is he at a point when there's that sort of domination? Is it almost impossible for Costa to ever get a rematch?
No.
Wait, so what does he have to do? Like, how many wins would it take? Like, what would just one dominant win over Cannonier or something? Where he should rematch Izzy? Or at this point, like, he would have to, I don't know, like, go on a Neil Magny type of run, we just beat like 12 guys and maybe you might get a title shot.
I think you see
2 or 3.
See Francis Ngannou. Whatever Francis Ngannou's done to earn his shot at Stipe, that's what you do.
Road. Yeah, well, that's the thing, and I think
and Francis still hasn't gotten it yet, so.
Well, I think the point there is it really depends on what people decide to do. Maybe Adesanya gets a Jon Jones super fight. I don't know, right? We don't know, right? So it's that's the problem when you lose these things is you get this shot, and now Reyes is in the same bed as well. So you get this shot, you really don't know when your next one's coming, regardless of if you're able to bounce back and take care of business in your next fights following the loss. Guess what? You might not. It takes a while to get that shot again. The matchmakers now view you in a certain way. Like they've kind of checked off this thing on your list that's like, okay, well, he got his shot. Now that we don't have to do that for him anymore, which sucks because who knows? Blachowicz was great tonight. Adesanya was great tonight, but who knows how things go.
I don't think Reyes moves the needle like Costa does. So that's what I mean. Like, I think the matchmakers and the people who make money in the UFC, you know, like the Dana Whites, they want Costa back up there. But are the fans what does Costa need to do for the fans to go? Yeah, this is a rematch we can take. I don't mean it's gonna. To me, that was just such a butt kicking that he got, and it wasn't like he just got caught up one punch. That was you saw it. It was just like it just ripped apart, you know.
I did appreciate Dana White not throwing Costa under the bus after. He said he called Costa a beast and said, and you know, he could have done, I think, a little bit better of a job of putting Izzy over. He had some other things he wanted to talk about, like Conor McGregor texts or whatever. But overall, I'm glad he did not throw either man under the bus. There was no like, oh, this guy was no. He credited the fighters for getting out there and doing what they did. I want to answer the question, though. What is next for Costa? I don't know if this will be my official answer when we do our matchmaking podcast, but I'm going to throw this out there because I'm in a sick mood tonight. Paulo Costa
oh, boy.
Gets back on the championship, right in the championship track. I'm not saying this earns him a top fight, but one or two away. Chris Weidman. Yeah, I said it.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I like it. I like it.
Waximus one, this is your fault. This is your fault that you made me think and make a rash call. Paulo Costa, Chris Weidman. Weidman wants to get he's hot off a win over Omari Akhmedov. He wants to get back in that top 5. Paulo Costa, let's go.
That makes a lot of sense. I like it because
does it?
Hell yeah, man. What if Weidman blasts and beats Costa? We're like, hey, he's back, baby. That's a fresh matchup for Izzy. We got the returning champ.
Gastelum.
Nah, Gastelum, whatever. What?
No. Same thing.
No way. No. Weidman, former champ. Weidman.
Weidman's coming off a win.
No. Izzy had a lackluster decision victory over Anderson Silva. Weidman broke that man's leg. I mean, that's a storyline. He's like, oh, Weidman. Oh, I beat Anderson Silva twice. Like, he went out on a stretcher when he fought me. What is this? Like, come on, man. I know it's a horrible storyline to sell, but. Come on, we're desperate here.
This is MMA we're talking about. Is there such thing as a horrible storyline to sell? I don't
know.
Hashtag Dolly.
All right.
What else we got?
Thank you, Matt Waximus one.
Will it be hard for Jan to prove himself as light heavyweight champion, considering he got the title because Jon Jones didn't want to fight Dom again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it will be. Daniel Cormier had the same struggles. Daniel Cormier is regarded as one of the greatest fighters of all time, maybe one of the top 5 pound-for-pound greatest fighters of all time. He never, I think, at any point during his light heavyweight championship, there was never a week that went by that someone didn't bring up Jon Jones. And that's Daniel Cormier, I think, was a great champion at 205. I don't think there should be any question that because for me, part of being a champion is being able to show up. So for whatever reasons that Jones can compete, whether it was suspensions for a USADA violation or outside of the cage shenanigans, to put it nicely, Cormier was the one in there fighting the fights, taking on Anthony Johnson, what have you. Yeah, twice, right, and winning the fights. So Jan is in the same situation now. He is the undisputed light heavyweight champion. People can say what they want about Jon Jones. Oh, Jon Jones can beat him. It doesn't matter. Jon Jones, as far as we know, is not fighting him anytime soon. He removed himself from the picture. But do I think how much does he have to do to get out of that shadow? A lot in the eyes of I think your average MMA fan, and I think that's more than fair. But I think if he rattles off 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive wins, strings together some knockouts in there, it'll really turn people in his favor because there was a lot, even with Jon Jones. I think near the end there. The Thiago Santos fight, the Dominic Reyes fight, there was a lot of people questioning, if Jon Jones' days of being a dominant champion were over. So if Blachowicz can record some finishes, you'll definitely have people going like, we want Jon Jones to come back, but right now this guy looks like the real deal, and who knows, maybe he could knock out Jon Jones. I don't know if people are willing to say that now, but give Blachowicz a big title defenses and we'll see. But it's very difficult to do to get out of that shadow.
2 title defenses.
I just think it depends.
2.
Yeah. I think it depends on who you talk to, because to me that felt like a Reyes title defense more than a vacant title fight. Because I thought Reyes beat Jon Jones. I thought it was pretty clear 3-2 win. He should have been the champion to begin with. So I didn't look at it as, the Jones shadow looming as much as maybe with Cormier, because, Jones was forced to be stripped of the title multiple times and all these things. This time Jones is like, you know what? I'm moving up to heavyweight. I'm done. I'm not the champion anymore. Like, he willingly gave up the belt. And when you do that, to me, that takes you out of the picture. Sure, like, the shadow's there, and, because, look at Adesanya. Even though he beat Anderson Silva, all the questions he gets at these press conferences are about Anderson Silva. Can you dethrone Anderson Silva and be the greatest middleweight of all time? Can you break his record? Like, Silva's shadow is still there with Adesanya, even though Adesanya beat him. So, sure, Jones will be mentioned in these conversations because everything's going to be compared to the greatest in anything. So that's probably why. But I think overall, like, are people going to discredit Jan Blachowicz for being a champion right now? I hope not. Not when Jones willingly gave up the title.
I want to believe you. I want to believe you.
Listen, I'm probably wrong about this, but that's how I view it.
I'll have to look at our comments on our Twitter page, and maybe I'll have it. Maybe I'll pull some of those up tomorrow. But I could be wrong. As far as I know, people on social media are feting Jan Blachowicz right now and crowning him, and just glad the reign of terror of Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier is over. I just have a feeling that's not the case. But yeah, we don't want to talk away from.
We started the show off talking about Jon Jones. We've talked about Jon Jones more than the guy that has the belt, who won the belt tonight. I feel like.
Yes, and he was Jon Jones very busy on social media today, so he made sure that he was very much part of the conversation. Which is fine. That's, he's keeping his brand relevant. Can't hate a man for that. But but that's just an example of what Jan Blachowicz has to overcome to really be viewed as the man at 205 pounds. I remember I asked a question, I think, earlier this week, compared to, say, I think there was because Dominic Reyes was favored and because they thought he beat Jon Jones, that, yes, if he won, everyone would say, number one guy at 205, Dominic Reyes. But my question was, if Jan Blachowicz did the same, would you view him that way? And the majority of the responses were in favor of actually Thiago Santos, because Santos, of course, has a win over Blachowicz, also was close to beating Jon Jones, and now I guess has to fight, go over to share. Hopefully that fight will happen at some point. So most people said he might actually be the uncrowned king at 205 pounds. So obviously they're really hoping that he gets that rematch with Blachowicz. And I don't know, maybe if he wins, maybe he has less of a shadow to overcome. We don't know, because he's fought Jon Jones. What about Vadim Nemkov over in Bellator? I know the level of competition probably not the same, but he's in the discussion. And then I'm just saying.
Yeah, actually, I was just about to bring that up. It's like, if we're doing an actually 205 world ranking right now, not just UFC but include all the promotions, I honestly don't know who the top light heavyweight in the world is right now. Considering if you take Jon Jones and DC out of it. Yeah, I think it's very up for debate who the top 205er in the world is right now.
I think it's Blachowicz.
He lost to Blachowicz. Blachowicz, he's just on a good run. But like you said, he lost to Cummins. He lost. How many? He's lost recently. It's not like he's lost a significant amount of fights.
Yeah, he did the Thiago Santos fight last February, less than 2 years ago.
That's what I mean. I like Yuri. I think Yuri. I think you can rank Yuri.
I've heard people say that too.
As the top. If you take away the belt, the belt, that's whatever. Like, it's whatever. But I honestly think, I think I would have Yuri as the top 205 in the world. I think he's the best in the world right now.
On the SureDog.com rankings, I just wanted to see where they had Nemkov before. Obviously, earlier this week, I think their last time they updated, they had Nemkov 8th. They had Prochazka 7th, so they already have him above the Bellator champion. Obviously, that showing against Ozdemir was fantastic. I think there's a lot of people who want to see maybe one fight away, if that. I don't think they'd complain at all if he was somehow slotted into a shot. Should other contenders fall out. So that's how undisputed it is. I think we've got like 4 or 5 names right now. And it's really not fair for Iran, considering he just won tonight in definitive fashion. But there are like 4 or 5 names out there that people, I think, would say maybe this person is the number 1 light heavyweight. But in a way, that's exciting for fans, I think, to be able to talk about that.
Yeah, Glover Teixeira and Thiago Santos is going to be a really interesting fight. Jed Meshew thinks that fight will determine the number 1 205er in the world, despite who has the title.
I think there's a great argument for that. Honestly, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, Jan won. If Reyes would have won tonight, I think without a doubt, he's number one light heavyweight in the world. But
Sure.
he got dominated and lost bad. So I think that is up for grabs.
We want to get. I know we want to get back to reader questions, but do you guys think? What do you think was up with him today? Is Jan just like that much better than him? I think he looked a bit off. And again, not to take away from Jan. Jan, I think, beat him fair and square. Jan was sensational. Reyes looked. He looked off. He just looked really unable to pull the trigger.
There's something.
My theory is I was thinking he took the first. I was thinking, okay, he's going to take the first round kind of slow because he didn't want to gas himself out. Because remember when he fought Jon, he went, boom, full throttle. And eventually, he ran out of gas, and then Jon took the last 2 rounds. The judges get the last 3 rounds. But that was the reason he lost. He didn't, what's the word I'm looking for?
He didn't pace himself.
He didn't pace himself correctly. Sure. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, Dom is going to ease into this fight. And maybe he eased a little too much. But obviously it got to him. But I think even when Dominic tweeted, I didn't let go. I just didn't let the hands go. I didn't get off. So
he knows, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my theory. But man, you just MMA.
Jan took advantage of that slow first round though by Ray. I mean, those body kicks were legit. That welt that he opened, holy cow! Like. That was a great statement by Jan in that first round to say, look, okay, if you're gonna let me pick my shots here, I'm gonna get you. Like I'm not gonna fight tentatively because you're fighting tentatively. I'm going in, and it led to a win. Sorry, Mike, you were gonna say, what was your take on how Reyes looked tonight?
No, so yeah, there's definitely something off, and I don't know if it was like the travel or being in Abu Dhabi or the pandemic and no fans. Like some fighters view it like
absolutely
like that's great. And some are just like, man, I don't like it. So who knows?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Only Dominic Reyes can answer that question. But there was definitely something that was, and I thought something was kind of off about him all week, if we're being honest. Like even during the press conference, and I know he's not like the most energetic guy to begin with, but I've had some pretty interesting conversations with the man where he was a lot more vibrant than he was this week, but. Like I said, only Dom knows the answer to that question.
And it's also very important to note that I'm glad you brought this up, Mike. Like we hear all the time, before the pandemic, man, the fans really brought that energy. I mean, I love the fans, blah this, and there's a lot of truth to that. Now, when we're asking when we always interview fighters, about 95% of our interviews are to the winners. We never talk to the losers, and to me, the losers have way more to say about because if he asks a winner, oh, did you miss the crowd? Well, since they won, they're not going to say, oh yeah, I would have won even better if I had no random dude yelling, put him in a body bag. So I can't say that if Reyes was hurt by the fact that there were no fans all week, like, and remember too, it's not just the fans. Like when they're in the locker room, when there's a big knockout in the octagon. They hear that. I mean, they're like, man, like they're warming up and they're hearing the fans go crazy. So there's just that, yeah, you don't get that same type of nervousness that comes out in a positive way during the fight. And also, we got to remember, he was fighting at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
6 a.m. That means he probably woke up, say 1 a.m., 2 a.m. You wake up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., get ready, get stretched, and go get in the most important fist fight of your life against a man who's trained just as hard to do the same thing. And for some guys, it might not make a difference. For some guys, it might be better. For other guys, they might show up and look horrible. You just don't know.
Jose, who's on site in Abu Dhabi for him, doesn't know Jose Youngs, was telling us that earlier in the week, like Reyes looked like he showed up for one of the press events looking like he was out of it in days, like he just woke up because he had just woken up. These guys did not have a lot of time to acclimate to the climate in Abu Dhabi, the different time zone. That's
all
legitimate.
All the testing,
all the testing. That's not normal, guy. You guys realize that's not how things have been for these guys.
Their entire careers,
the last couple of years. There's a whole different routine they have, and now it's changed. And credit to the UFC for trying to make it as easy for these fighters as they can. But there's only so much they can do. So I don't think Reyes is going to say it. But honestly, if he said like that he was a little flat because of the time zone thing, how can anyone dispute that? Right? How can anyone say that that's not true?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Oh, we got lots.
We got lots.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Izzy has blasted Gaslam, KO'd Whitaker twice, dealt with Romero, and shown up Costa. Who could touch him? Maybe Cannonier? I don't know. Maybe Jon Jones.
Jon Jones, definitely. But if we're talking, let's stick to middleweight. Can we stick to middleweight?
Maybe Marvin Vettori. Maybe Kevin Holland. I don't know.
Yeah, Kevin Holland would definitely do it at his own expense. Kevin Holland would definitely find a way to touch him up a little bit. It might end up with him getting knocked out, but he would definitely do it.
I don't know. This is a variation of the same question, but can you read that, Mike?
Design a fighter who can beat the great Izzy. How can you beat him?
Yeah.
Oh, let me think. You know what, guys? Hold on. Thank you, Tim Aqua, because I'm thinking now. I'm picturing someone from maybe Russia or Sweden, around that region. Bald fellow. Very young, exciting prospect, maybe a little inexperienced. Obviously, power in his hands, phenomenal wrestling. His name is. I'm seeing initials. I'm seeing a K. I'm seeing a C. Could it be the man to beat Israel Adesanya? Everyone's favorite. Hamzat Chimaev.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Kevin Kroom moving up to one. I'm sorry.
Obviously, the signs are a little murky. Sometimes you're reading the signs that are a little murky. That's what I thought was well. But I don't know, guys. We have to mention them on the show. I think I just saw our viewership was go up by like 500 people.
Yeah, that was the first mention.
You mentioned people call their friends and go like, guys, they're talking about Hamzat Chimaev. They're calling their friends at 3 a.m. They're talking about Hamzat Chimaev on the show. You got to tune in.
You know, Chimaev got mentioned before Conor McGregor.
Whoa.
We are in crazy times.
We're in that territory now.
And of course, you guys probably saw the reports that they want Chimaev to headline a card in December. Wonder Boy was mentioned, which, by the way, there's Wonder Boy hasn't even been approached with that option, just to let you know. And then Leon Edwards, makes no sense for Leon Edwards to take that fight. So I would say that both of those options are doubtful at best. So don't get too excited about Chimaev versus Wonder Boy. It just doesn't make any sense for either guy to take that fight right now. Just doesn't. There's no upside for it.
You're saying Chimaev versus Adesanya is more likely.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Why would Leon Edwards fight him? Definitely Izzy. That's the guy.
That's it. I don't know. I mean, when you're at 2 weight classes, there's so many options. Chimaev told TMZ he was ready to slot in for either of those two guys if they couldn't make it, which is redonkulous because it would never happen. There's no way after you fight in Vegas, you're just going right off to Abu Dhabi in a week to fight for the title without any kind of quarantine. It's just the time we live in. But who we'll see what happens, Chimaev.
But I was trying to think, how do you design a fighter to be Izzy right now? And the last guy I would think of would be Kelvin Gastelum. I was like, a short overweight welterweight with good boxing. That's the guy to be Izzy. It's just
relentless cardio. Someone who doesn't have to pace themselves. There's no pace. I think some people said Paulo Costa might have started a little slow today, kind of like we were saying about Reyes, because maybe he's shown a little bit of fatigue in the later rounds. That's not an issue with Kelvin Gastelum, which again I think we saw in the first Izzy fight. Is that guy is going to come at you full speed in the first round and be pretty much at 95% of that same speed in the 5th round. So yeah, maybe if somehow he can get that rematch, who knows? Maybe he's the guy to challenge Adesanya. I'd love to watch that again.
It'd probably be some sort of like Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington combo between like the over. I mean, like honestly, between the pace and the nonstop cardio of Colby. Not saying that Kamaru has bad cardio because he went 5 rounds with Colby. He was in there in the 5th round and got the finish. But I would say like a combination of those two guys, but like bigger. I don't know. I mean, it's hard. Why did Costa seem to not push the action? Was Izzy actually in his head, or could he just not get his game going?
That was really confusing. I think most of the predictions I saw, certainly the prediction I made, was Costa gets the win with a knockout in round 1 or round 2. The longer the fight goes, the longer it favors the champion. That was not the story of this match at all. He came out really slow. It was all Adesanya in round 1 pretty much, and then definitely obviously in round 2 he finished the fight. Why didn't he push the action? Man, I think Adesanya is one of those guys who when you get in there, it's just a whole other world from what you were expecting. You can train with guys who have a similar body type, maybe a similar background, but it's just not the same until you get in there with them. Same quality as guys like Anderson Silva, a lot of the great champions. It's a whole other thing. Even like a Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo, just guys like that. You might still watch them and you might think, when I get in there, this is what I'm going to do. And then within the first 10 seconds of standing across them, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to approach this. Everything goes out the window. That's just how tough it is. So Costa, I'm sure once he felt some of those leg kicks, which he was not able to check, I don't know if he just thought he could take them, but those certainly affected him later. And I don't want to say Izzy was in his head at all. I don't think that's the case. I think it's hard to kind of factor those things in. Again, it's one of those things you'd have to ask him. But it's more just the kind of style that Izzy has, and man, it's just what a great striker he is, and what a real challenge he is.
How different from this fight? I think when Costa was in there, I think Costa had a game plan. I'm gonna do this, do that. But when he got in there, and after about a couple minutes, he just looked. He looked around and goes like, "Oh my God, I'm not." They were making the Romero joke, but Costa was literally Romero for a moment. He was standing in there right in the middle, just eating leg kicks, which is exactly what Romero did. Yep. The only difference is Romero just ate leg kicks for 5 rounds, basically. That's the only difference. Eventually, Costa was like, "Okay, screw this. I got to do something." And when he tried to do something, we saw what happened. So, there's something when you're in there and you're throwing those feints and you're moving, and Izzy's just a step ahead of you. Unless you're inside that cage, I don't know. It's just it's something he just puts a spell on you.
Yeah, the Romero thing is a perfect example. Romero is this berserker with anyone else. He could not, and people, this myth that he was pushing the fight against Adesanya needs to die, because anyone just rewatched that fight. Neither guy was doing anything. He was really frozen and mystified by Izzy's style. So it really happens to everyone.
I actually thought Romero's game plan was brilliant. Like that's how you, unfortunately, like in a moment like that, that's how you beat Adesanya, or like have any chance to beat him, is to like not let him explode. You have to like make him come to you, and you have to be able to counter effectively. And I think Costa like didn't want to do that. I actually think it's the opposite of Izzy getting in his head. I think Costa thought he was in Izzy's head a lot more than he actually was. Because a lot of people bought into that narrative, like especially after the weigh-in. Oh, he's in Izzy's head. Even Izzy talked about it at the post-fight. I think Costa bought into that a little bit more. That, oh yeah, I got him. Like his mind is melted. I've melted his mind. He's officially under my spell. And it turned out that wasn't the case. I don't know if his team convinced him of that, or he felt that way, but it certainly didn't play out that way in the fight, and things changed very quickly. Because even like Costa, like in the early stages of the fight, was taunting him and saying all these different things and doing all these movements and trying to piss him off, and it didn't work. And then I think he realized, maybe I wasn't in his head as much as I thought.
Yeah.
This is not gonna end well.
And man, I just want to compliment Izzy again. To beat an undefeated fighter like Costa is just such an impressive feat. And essentially what I think Izzy took maybe one decent kick to the body. I think that's about it. And it's just
the one right in the chest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's just like to finish a guy like Costa just like that. I don't know. I just that was the most impressive title defense I've seen, to me, in my mind, since Tyron Woodley over Darren Till.
Ooh.
Where just like, wow, you thought this is gonna be a crazy fight. Oh my god. And then like, oh, that was completely one-sided. Wow, that was even, yeah. So that's the vibe I got. So.
And Till was also undefeated this time.
Yeah. And defeating an undefeated fighter. I can't remember the interview. I think Daniel Cormier said it a few years ago. He was talking about his first few fights he took. He fought like undefeated fighters, but guys who were like 2-0, 3-0. And he was talking about, this is DC talking about these 2-0 fighters. He's saying it is so hard to finish undefeated fighters because like they've never quit. And to make a guy quit for the first time in his life is just, he said it was an incredible feat. He was very proud of it. So I said, I never really thought about that. So when I think of Izzy doing that to guys like Costa and Tyron Woodley doing it to guys like Darren Till, it's good to watch.
What else we got?
Your man.
With the great performance by Royval, who do you think he should fight next? Do you think he deserves someone in the top 5 of the flyweight division? I threw out a suggestion. I don't know if I'm going with this, but maybe it was just the moment taking over me. Brandon Royval versus Manel Cape. I want it. I want it. I want all of it. That's what I want.
Thank you, Tristan Gordet, for the question. I mean, look, I got jazzed up when people brought up Brandon Moreno, just because I like this. I just like, again, Brandon versus Brandon. But I think Moreno. We've discussed him a bunch of times as a potential opponent. I think we're all just waiting for him to fight again. He really deserves.
He's already got a fight.
He's already got it. And that's when we mentioned this. Whoever wins that should just get a title shot. They shouldn't have to fight anyone else again.
Sure.
And Royval, he's on that path. Look, he'll end up fighting one of these guys eventually if he makes his way to the top. But boy, he is in his first 2 fights to take out a veteran and a former world title challenger in Tim Elliott, and then to beat Kai Kara-France and finish, by the way, in a division that people always say, oh, nobody finishes anybody. 2 finishes, 2-0 in the UFC so far. He's this boundless ball of energy. He's incredibly unpredictable. And I think even though he's very hard on himself after his fights, I really believe when he's leading up to the fight and in the fight, I think he's the kind of guy. His confidence is just endless. I don't think he thinks about what adversity. I think he always just thinks I'm in the fight. I'm gonna find a way to get this done. And man, that performance today was really, really impressive because Kai Kara-France is legit. Like, that guy is good. That guy himself is maybe 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot. Now he gets knocked back in the line. So, oh gosh, what's next? It can't be Brandon Moreno, like we said. I'll just throw out a suggestion I saw someone mention. Matt Schnell, which I don't know if people think that's behind Royval now. But I don't mind that. I mean, again, another experienced guy. I know Royval probably jumps ahead of him in the rankings now, but
I'll cut you off. I'll cut you off. I'll cut you off, AK.
Please do.
Prospect versus veteran. Joseph Benavidez.
That's a good idea too.
Who just said they wanted to fight him again? Someone who just
Tyson Nam, which is, I mean, it was a nice call out, but it ain't happening.
Oh, I still like that call out though.
No, it's a call out. It's a call out. You know, you call out, but I think Royval versus the Beefcake. I love that fight.
I don't mind that. That's a good one. Royval called out for Miga and Askarov in the post-fight scrum.
Go higher. Go Benavidez, man.
Where's Benavidez now?
Huh? I'm sorry?
Where's Benavidez ranked right now? He's gotten finished his last 2 fights.
Yeah, but I think the same guy.
I think he's still number.
Yeah, he's like, you should be number 2 guy. Yeah, he's the number 2 guy. He got finished last 2 fights, but you got finished in one of those fights by a guy who came in like 5 pounds over. So don't worry. And yeah,
he's still number 1 in the official number 1 contender in the official rankings.
We are not going by UFC rankings. Those are not real rankings. Do not respect those rankings.
He is also the number 1 contender in my rankings.
In your heart, in your
the secret AK Lee rankings. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put anyone above Benavidez right now. Brandon Moreno, Alex Perez, Askarov. I wouldn't put them above Benavidez.
I wouldn't either.
Cape says he's fighting in November, so who knows who he's fighting? I hope it's him and Askarov, because I think Capes should be like right into a big fight like that right off the bat. But people keep asking, what's up with Mel Cape? I have no idea. He is not telling me anything because I have tried.
But that is a good question for Royval because he's definitely, I think, getting someone in the top 10. Mainly again because, well, it's not a big jump because again, there's only 18 contracted flyweights.
Hey, stop it! You make 18 of the best flyweights in the world.
18 of the best flyweights in the world, and guess what? There's a lot more out there that the UFC should sign. That's what I'm saying. Is it's a shame that people look at the rankings and they're like, oh well, yeah, of course he's ranked because there's only 20 flyweights. But I mean, legitimately, he was a super exciting fighter, and again, I think the division is so much better and so much deeper than people give it credit for. But we've been beating this drum for a long time. Hopefully, fights like this make people listen. But I don't know what you can do.
It's the nickname. The nickname just bumps him up a couple of spots.
Please
AK
don't
loves the nickname.
I do not love it. It's crude.
What about Caitlin Vieira?
What about Caitlin Vieira?
Marion Renault? Isn't that who she was supposed to fight? She was already supposed to fight Marion Renault, right?
Yeah, that was the original
I think
one.
It makes sense still.
I don't mind that.
Caitlin Vieira is a bit of an anomaly. Like she is very good, but yet I just as a fan, I have almost like zero interest watching her fights, and it sucks. I hate saying that. I mean, I'm just never excited to see a Caitlin Vieira fight. and I'm not sure why, because she's generally a stand-up fighter. She has heavy hands. She's strong, but I just can't get into her fights. It kind of annoys me actually. Like, it annoys me as a fan.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We have to be honest with people, and she's a very high quality fighter. She looked great tonight. She definitively won her fight tonight. But I mean, if I'm asking the average person, the average sports fan, oh, have you seen this person fight? Is this person a compelling performer? Do you want to see them fight again? Most people would probably just kind of be like, I guess. At best, they'd give an I guess. And that's just how the fight game is. This fight game is not always about wins and losses. It is about performance and having some sort of hook for people. And I don't know if she has one. And I don't know if she showed one today. If this is the first time that people saw Caitlin Vieira, she hasn't fought in a while, then I don't know if there's people who would remember that performance, unfortunately, because it was a solid one. It was just unspectacular. So what's next? She's probably at least still one or two fights, maybe 2 fights away from getting a title shot. But to
me,
that's
not even that she's 2 fights away. It's just like there's no fan. She was on the main card of a pay-per-view tonight, and I feel like we're mentioning her name out of courtesy. After a big no, it's just it's very interesting. The fans are behind her. I love the bantamweight division. I want to build up more contenders for Amanda Nunes, but I just can't see the UFC trying to even she would. I don't know who she has to. She has to get a big knockout and do a backflip off the cage or something, because Holly Holmes yeah.
Holly Holmes got to fight. I mean, Duranamy and Juliana Pena are about to fight, so maybe the loser of that.
Raquel Pennington.
I thought she was supposed to fight Sarah McMahon, and she's hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's I feel
Sarah McMahon's another option. I mean, she's not jumping up much further than where she's at right now. She's probably gonna have to take a step back, unfortunately.
Joseph Boza, I'm sorry we're not answering this question with more enthusiasm. Caitlin Vieira is legitimate top 10 bantamweight contender, but just not exactly a name that tickles our matchmaking nodes at the moment.
If Holm loses to Aldana, you do Vieira versus Holm. There you go.
Yeah.
But that's as good as it gets, probably.
Casey, this kind of bummed me out. What else?
Anything? Any other question?
Got it. Throw one up there.
Look at her. Caitlin Vieira just won on a page. She's a top 5 bantamweight, and we're talking about her I'm bummed out. That is the problem of Caitlin Vieira, and that's what I mean. I can't figure it out. I don't know.
I like that. I want, when I see a fighter win, I want to question my existence when someone starts. Because I was worried for you there for a second, Casey. You seemed really like you're questioning everything you believed in when you're trying to figure out why are you not a bigger Caitlin Vieira fan? Yeah. And I was like, oh no, poor Casey. He's having a moment. He's having a moment here.
I'm looking at the top 10. I love watching Aldana. Oh, Holly Holmes fighting, cool. Oh, Aspen, I can't wait till she gets healthy. Oh, Juliana Pena, she's exciting. Raquel Pennington. Then I'm like, Caitlin Vieira.
It's like a Sunny D commercial. Oh yeah, purple stuff. Ooh, Sunny D. All right.
Oh.
All right. What else we got? Do a couple more.
Let's talk about
Diego versus Conor. Let's do it. God no.
Yeah. No. Diego Brandao, Conor McGregor rematch. Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty sure that is what Conor McGregor was talking about in his scandalous leaked text messages between himself and Dana
He broke
White.
the man code. The man code. Dana said he broke the man code.
Not the man code. I vaguely remember Conor McGregor having some sort of compliment for Diego Brandao. This may have been a dream I had. But I think it was maybe the anniversary of, Conor McGregor won this fight against Diego Brandao on this day. And I think Diego Brandao commented on it. And I want to say Conor McGregor at least replied and said, you're a warrior, brother. This was definitely a dream I had. I don't know why I keep talking about this, but it certainly makes more sense than him wanting to fight Diego Sanchez. Even I know the texts were from February, I believe he said, so quite a while ago, which I guess Diego would have been coming off of the Michel Pereira DQ.
Right? That was the end of the month. That was on February 29th.
Oh, so maybe before.
So that was maybe heading into the Pereira.
Sure. Okay. So the timeline's a little murky, but in that case, if it was before that, then Diego would have been coming off a win. So it makes a little bit of sense, but I just don't understand that at all. I don't know why. I really hope there's nobody out there who actually wants to see that. It's just weird that Conor would bring it up. Diego Brandao versus Conor McGregor too. Marco Aceves, I do like it. I also like Carlos Diego Ferreira versus Conor McGregor. Another excellent suggestion. I know those are the two. What you meant, one of those two things. Yeah, I'm down for both of those.
Whose stock rose the most tonight? This is my kind of a question. Right here.
Javon. Thank you, Javon.
Who's dropped the most? Whose stock rose the most? Who's dropped the most? Ooh,
Danilo Marquez.
That's a good question.
On both of those.
It's got to be Brand. It's got to be Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval's stock rose the most. I think that's fair to say. Oh no, Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. That would have been mine as well.
Royval's right there. Those are the two guys that rose the most. Who's dropped the most? That's maybe Reyes.
Oh gosh. I mean, it sounds harsh to say, but it took a hit. It took a hit. I think I said this on Between the Links last week that I don't think people realize when you don't capitalize on one of these opportunities how hard it is to kind of get close to that again. I use Alexander Gustafsson as an example. I know people are going to say, well, after Gustafsson lost that first fight with Jones, he still fought in multiple world title fights, but it never felt like the Cormier fight was very good, but it never felt like Gustafsson hit that level of hype again. There was other reasons. He was injured a lot. He wasn't able to keep a regular fight schedule, and that would have changed a lot for sure. So there's extenuating circumstances. But for Reyes now, technically this is back-to-back losses. There's also an Oezdemir fight that was very close. So if people look at just his last 5 fights, there's going to be a lot of skepticism about how legitimate he is. Was he real? How close was he, to really being the best light heavyweight in the world? Yes, he was one round away from beating Jon Jones, but still, close only counts in horseshoes and all that, right? That's the big cliche. So I would not object, Mike, to your suggestion that Dominic Reyes maybe his stock dropped the most. I think it dropped further than people think.
I also when it comes to stocks in events like this, I kind of look at some of the bigger names covering the sport because, let's be honest, the bigger names, the guys who've been around a long time, had no idea who William Knight was until tonight, had no idea who Brandon Royval was until probably tonight. Even after the Tim Elliott win, probably still had no idea who the guy was, where he came from, when he got to the UFC. They're seeing these guys probably for the first time. You know what I mean? And if they're tweeting about them and complimenting them, that's usually a good sign that you're on the radar of some of the guys who've been around a long time, like the Okamotos, the Kevin Iolis of the world, who probably have no idea who these guys were a year ago. But now they saw them. They have a big following. People are talking about them. That usually means it's a good thing. And I know Kevin Ioli talked about William Knight. That's a good thing. I know Okamoto talked about Royval. But neither of these guys have ever talked about these guys in the past. So, I mean, but these are guys that, I've been covering these guys forever. I've watched these guys come through the sport. So what Royval did tonight didn't surprise me. What William Knight didn't surprise me. These are things that they've done for years, and I've watched them do it for years. So their stocks, both those guys' stocks definitely rose.
The big stock dump tonight was...
Oh, God, don't say it.
Zubaira.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Because of the weight miss and the loss.
His stock went down so much, you forgot he even fought tonight. Think about it. He had all that hype. First of all, he had a lot of hype in general. Then the whole Conor thing. So he had that Conor association. Then he's kicked out of the UFC, but Khabib goes, no, he's in the UFC, and he's back.
Ooh.
And then he misses weight bad, and let's just call it what it is. He gamed the system by coming in 5 pounds over almost 2 hours before he had to actually make weight. So that's just gaming the system, 5 pounds over. And then the fight, a bad fight, and to literally run away for, what was that, 3 minutes? He was literally just backpedaling for 3 or 4 minutes, it felt like, in that last round. That's just and to have Khabib in your corner too, that was just and a horrible night for him, I feel.
Keep in mind, he lost a split decision. If he had won that 3rd round, he actually would have won the fight. So clearly, I don't know who was giving him advice. I don't know if his corner had told him he was up 2 rounds to none going to the third, and it was okay for him to coast. It wasn't. That round really made the difference. Yes, one of the judges was 30-27 for Dawadu, so it wouldn't have made a difference. But the split could have gone the other way if he had not just given away that third round. So now that you bring it up, I forgot how kind of bad that looked for him. But it really.
And you know why you didn't realize how bad it was? Because there was no fans. Imagine 15,000 fans just booing, and that would be like the biggest, not the biggest story of the night, but we would have remembered that essentially. But without fans, we don't have this booing of the running guy. So it was bad.
Or
proponent.
Casey, imagine this. Oh, go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah. Oh, I know what you're gonna say. Go.
I was gonna say, how different would that fight have been if some open scoring? That's all.
I knew that.
I was gonna just throw it to you. I was like, Casey, have you heard of people saying open scoring? Because I'm joking. Open scoring sucks. So I'm kidding. There's many merits to it.
It is too late. We've gone over an hour.
Zubaira Tukhugov's team definitely wishes that there was open scoring tonight. That would have helped him a lot. The only one I don't want to mention a stock drop was Khadis Ibrahimov. Though really his stock could not drop any lower. He entered this fight 0-3. The rare 0-3 fighter to get another shot right away. Now he's 0-4. I assume this is happy trails for Khadis Ibrahimov. And again, I don't mean to crap on the man while he's down. I'll say I hope he gets to go back to the regional scene. He was an M1 champion, so hopefully gets to go back to that scene. Rack up some more wins. I look forward to covering him, getting some sensational, crazy-ass knockout on Miss Fist or something, and maybe he gets another shot at the UFC in the future or Bellator or another major promotion. So best of luck to Khadis, who's probably fought his last UFC fight tonight.
You just cut the man before he got cut.
No, we have to be honest. I can't lie to America.
Hey,
listen.
No one's ever gone 0-5. Let me just give him a chance. No one's ever gone 0-5. I'm pretty confident.
You don't want to do that. Kevin Sataki. His stock dropped tonight. The referee in that fight between Dawadu and Zubaira. How dare you tell Hakeem Dawadu how to speak in a fist fight with another man? Shut the hell up.
My freaking ears.
Whoa.
Freaking ears. What
the heck is wrong with you, right?
What? No, come on. These are two guys fighting each other. So what if he drops an F-bomb? It's on pay-per-view. Who are you? Are you the FCC? You're the referee. You just sit there and you make sure the rules are enforced. Nowhere in the rules says you can't swear. That's nowhere in the rules. That's not in the unified rules of MMA.
Keep it clean, fella.
That made me so mad.
Hold on. You are Mike. You are Mike Heck, not Mike Hell.
I was upset about that. I'm like, just shut up and let these guys fight, dude. Like seriously, relax. He said the F-bomb, they're fighting. I mean, that's what happens. If either of us get in a fight, we might drop an F-bomb. We just might do it. Let him do it. Jesus.
Isn't that the best part about the... Yeah, a lot of people have died in this pandemic. A lot of bad things have happened. But one of the positives are we get to hear refs go, hey, no cursing.
Keep it respectful.
Take it easy.
Hey.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean, he said multiple times. Keep it clean. Keep it clean, guys.
He goes, no cussing. No cussing.
No cussing. And then
he goes, no cussing.
No cussing.
That's
a new one.
That doesn't beat nuts, though, from Chris Ione.
No, that's still number one. Top five in cage ref comments of the year. Nuts is still number one. No cussing might have moved it to the solid number 2 spot.
And Jason Herzog, too. Like, he was fine the rest of the night. I mean, he was okay the rest of the night, but the first fight that we will not mention anymore. Like, how many fence grabs did he let him get away with? Like 3 brutal ones.
Questionable stand up in the Eubanks Vieira fight, which is also I think by Jason Herzog. So some adventures in officiating tonight, but overall, I don't think
exactly. Even going back to Ketlin Vieira, even the refs.
There was one more. Hold on, the eye punch to Silva.
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad.
That
was a new guy. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say new guy, but a guy I'm not familiar. I will find you his name right now. I know we're running out of time.
Is it the same one?
No, this is a new guy. Lucas Bosaki. Bosaki.
I did tweet about this. I did tweet about this, and it did upset me because who was the ref? Who was the Goddard? Who was the ref for DC Stipe?
Goddard.
Was it Goddard? Okay. And Goddard, basically, his whole case was, well, I didn't see the eye poke, right? That's big. If I don't see it, I can't call it, which is BS. We've watched enough fights. We've watched. I mean, I don't want to call it BS. Goddard's a great ref, but I'm kind of calling BS on that because we've caught enough fights. When guys say got the eye poked, 99% of the time the ref bases it on the reaction. You can't. Everything is way too fast. You don't see eye, but you literally don't see eye pokes. So I don't blame the ref for thinking it was an eye poke, even though we had a very clear view and there wasn't like it was a clear punch. So, but and I want to emphasize too. What's the opponent's name? De Silva. He was in no way faking it because if you've ever had a knuckling eye, it feels the same. So and obviously his eye was like afterward. So yeah, I just at least that happened. I think they didn't even look at the replay. I think they just kind of looked up. They did an informal instant replay.
Huge.
Wouldn't you call that an informal instant replay? When they kind of just looked up
at the fight
at the screens, yeah. What was that? What was the actual call on that fight? Did the ref go? Oh, what happened?
They just started.
He paused. Yeah, I think he gave the guy a little bit of time to recover. At least
he realized it wasn't a poke, and he was like, "All right, let's go."
But how do you realize?
But he didn't look at the.
Just informally. I think
plus
Eugene Bareman was shouting at him.
Screaming.
That's what I mean. Like, so we had this informal instant replay because we always say look at the instant replay. The replays are showing the whole time on the screens, so the refs and judges have to act like they're not looking at these giant screens right above them. It's just I think it's kind of another stupid thing we do in MMA.
It's
yeah, it's silly.
Yeah. What a world, eh?
Hey.
All right, one more.
Well, we love it. But
one more. Okay, last one.
One more.
Last one before I gotta go watch Ryzen. Ryzen's on right now.
Kaya Sakura.
Mm-hmm.
Tension.
Mm-hmm.
Reina. Where's this question? I keep saying names of guys fighting on Ryzen Casey, but it's
yeah. One more
I know you're having to sort through a lot of spam.
Yeah.
Stop spamming.
I know.
Stop spamming. You want your questions answered. Report. I guess they really can't control that. I guess that's really on us. Let's get rid of this.
Oh man.
A lot of pressure on this last question.
Yeah, I know.
That was the last question.
Sorry, guys. I'm standing by my score, by the way. I know. Again, I'm sure there's been a lot of consternation in the comments of what is this guy's problem?
Consternation. Nice. It's too late for
consternation. Yes. Thank
too
you.
late for big words like that.
With this card, like guys, we can do better.
I'm not going to end on William Knight versus Ed Herman. Who you got? I'm not ending on that.
I will say while we're waiting for another question, we talked a little bit about next weekend's card. It does not have, by the way, a high ceiling in my opinion. Boy, that sounds negative. Which is again not to say you can't enjoy it for what it is, but I don't think it has quite the potential to thrill as we had tonight or as we had last week with the amazing Covington Woodley card, which I think will go down as one of the best cards of the year. So this card was good. This card was one of the really well built. But next week, I should take a look at it before I slander any further. We have a compelling main event. Two actually pretty good women's bantamweight fights. Holly Holm, Irene Aldana, and GDR and Juliana Pena. Outside of that, I've got to do a little research. Carlos Condit's coming back.
Yes.
Oh yeah, next week. Yep, he is in town.
Yeah.
New England representing the co-main event. Jorgen De Castro.
Shouldn't have. I knew you'd mention it. Well, you know what? Then I'll shout out Canada's own Charles Jourdain against the surprising Josh Kulabau. I remember Josh Kulabau. He's getting another shot, but I thought he did kind of okay in his first fight and didn't win.
KB Bular fighting too.
There's some intriguing names on here, but obviously it's a lot of people who are a bit newer to the UFC. Loma Lukbunmi, who I think is great, but she'll only be fighting. I think it's her second UFC fight. She'll be fighting Jinyu Fry. So, I don't think the ceiling is that high for this card. To be diplomatic about it.
Do have a couple of interviews coming up for that card. Jordan Williams, I spoke with, just got a contract in the Contender Series. Seemed like yesterday. And he's already in Abu Dhabi getting ready.
Beverly Hills Ninja? Is that?
No, that's the Jordan. That's
a different one.
Jordan Wright.
Oh,
Jordan
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm excited for the other one, but
Sure.
Jordan Williams was supposed to fight on the Contender Series before Wright got the call and Jordan didn't after having two impressive performances. And then I talked to Casey Kenny as well. He will also be fighting next Saturday against Haley Alatang. That should be a hell of a fight.
Here we
His
go.
only lost in the UFC to Marab. No shame in that.
Yes.
Final question.
How long do you think Blachowicz will reign as champ?
Ooh, that's good. Thank you, Dan. That is good.
No
give us a
avatar
sign again. I know we're low on time. No avatar, no last name, just Dan.
Dan.
If Jon Jones stays at heavyweight or goes to heavyweight like he says he will, he'll be. I think Blachowicz can be champion for a while. I think he's whatever. If you haven't read this, by the way, just Google Jan Blachowicz pre-fight ritual MMA fighting and read this article. Trust me, it's just so bizarre. I don't know if I could doubt him anymore. It's just the ritual is something else.
Can I say this about Jan before you answer your question? I think it is incredible when fighters like Jan, who now have the UFC title around their waist, and yet they lost their first professional fight. I just think that's incredible. Yes. They started their career off 0-1.
Yeah.
And like
Chris Cyborg, Jose Aldo?
Jose Aldo, I think Jose Aldo, one of the Brazilian champs, Aldo or Burrell.
Chris Cyborg for sure.
Chris Cyborg lost their first fight.
Yeah.
I just
didn't lose again for like 20 years.
Yeah, I just think it's incredible. Like they come out, these guys who are eventually the best in the world, their first time. All right, I'm getting paid to fight money. I'm getting paid to fight, and boom, they lose, and they go, you know what? I can still do this and be the best, and they do it. I just think that's awesome.
Oh, I'm crazy. Jose Aldo did not lose his first. So it's not Jose Aldo. I'm sorry. Chris Cyborg.
Maybe it was Burrell. I remember it was like it was a really
yeah.
It was a good champ. Yeah,
right, actually.
But answer the question.
It was Henan Burrell.
It was. I got it.
Well done. What a pull by this guy. If we're talking number of title defense, I guess we have to talk in terms of title defenses, right?
Yeah.
Because if you just go back years, it's hard to say, right? Because we just don't know. We've had champions who only defend their title like once a year, right? And then it's always weird to say like, oh, they've been champion for a year. It's like they defended it once. I remember like Cain Velasquez, I think was like, oh, he's been champion for like 800 days. And it's like he defended it, I think like one time during that span. And it's like, well, still a 100 day. It's an 800-day reign. Shut up. I don't know how long he can keep it. I'll be honest with you. I count me among the people who have been doubting him every time. I picked Reyes to beat him. I picked Luke Rockhold to beat him once upon a time. So that shows you the kind of expertise that you're dealing with here, by the way. So I apologize, Dan, for this is who you're asking. But I'll keep doubting him. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the age. Maybe his unassuming personality. Maybe I look down upon international. I don't know what it is. I just cannot pick him because if he fights Teixeira or Maheta, I might pick one of them to beat him. So I'll tell you, Dan. I don't think it goes beyond one title defense, one successful one.
I'm gonna go one. I'm gonna go one also, and I'm kind of like
we're
you.
Terrible.
I'm looking at my typology, and one great part about typology, they show you all your previous predictions. So if you go to the fighter, I'm on Jan's page, and I've done predictions for 7 of his fights. I'm 3-4, and I've lost. And I had him. I thought actually, you know what? I'm 3-5. They haven't updated this. I thought he was gonna lose to Reyes tonight. I predicted that he was going to lose to Corey Anderson. I predicted that he was going to lose to Jacare, and I predicted he was going to lose to Luke Rockhold. So yeah, Jan loses next fight, of course. I'm still not a believer, but I love his like hanging man rope thing. That's amazing.
I think
don't want to look at my picks for Jan.
I think if Jon Jones stays a heavyweight, I think Jan could be champ for a little bit, until he fights Yuri Prochazka.
I hope. Yeah. Right. We don't know how soon that is. Right?
Who, by the way,
I hope so.
Yuri Prochazka should probably fight Dominic Reyes next.
That makes sense.
Oh,
I can see that.
I mean, he's lost 2 in a row. I think main event. I mean, I picked somebody else previous. Who was it? Who just beat Anthony Smith?
Oh, Rakic.
Rakic. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Rakic.
I think you brought. Yeah.
He jumps over Rakic. There you go. We do Prohashka versus Dominic Reyes. Main event.
It looks like we have gotten the proverbial hook.
Yeah.
From our dear Esther Lynn. Hey guys, you're all missing Ryzen 24. Mitsuki Ibata is fighting right now. So
there you go.
I gotta go, guys. I got.
You guys. So if you MMA fans are looking for something to do, you still got that. Still get a bunch of energy and you want to watch more fights, Ryzen 24 going on right now. So
you're up anyway, and you watched us. I mean, you can only go up from here if you switch over to Ryzen.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, we're going to put a bow on this thing. So that's it. Lots more UFC 253 discussion coming up this week. We got get on to the next one coming up Monday, Between the Links on Tuesday, A-Side on Wednesday. I mean, good God. Tons of coverage and tons of things to talk about. So that's it. So for Casey, for AK, big shout out to Esther Lynn behind the scenes with the graphics.
You guys are the best.
You are the best. Hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Good night, everybody.
Stop spamming the YouTube comments, weirdos.